Good day, everyone. Hope you're enjoying your day. Um, the world is not without critics, that's for sure. I was thinking about this. I was listening to somebody talk the other day, and I was thinking about this topic. And there's kind of different approaches, and there's kind of different positives and negatives, and to the topic. And there's also, some people take a hardline approach. Some people take kind of a softer approach. Some people are more open to different possibilities. So I was kind of curious um, to explore this topic a little bit further. And so I did an AI search on this one. I asked a few different questions. So I wanted to get some like real data and just kind of like get some real information on this topic because I think it's important to know about facts versus just kind of like fear and fiction and that sort of thing. So I asked like, is it healthy to have opposite sex friends that you're not in a romantic relationship with? And the AI says yes, opposite sex friends are generally healthy and normal, so long as boundaries, honesty, and mutual expectations are clear. The core answer: opposite sex friendships can improve emotional support, perspective taking, and social skills, and they're not inherently risky. The health of the friendship depends on intentions, transparency, and boundaries rather than gender alone. And then it looks at a quick comparison of key factors: benefit, emotional support, different perspectives, risk, unreciprocated romantic interest, secrecy. Key boundary: one on one time limits, no hidden intimacy. Communication: tell partners about regular contact, be transparent. When to reconsider: if attraction grows, secrecy starts, or partner is distressed. Why it's healthy: diverse friendships broaden empathy and social learning, giving access to viewpoints you might not get from same gender friends. Many people report real benefits: companionship, practical help, social status, honest feedback, and opposite sex friends when expectations or from opposite sex friends when expectations are aligned. When it becomes unhealthy: hidden romantic intent by one person or secretive behavior undermines trust and can harm existing romantic relationships. Emotional substitution: relying on a friend for the kind of intimacy you promised a partner can erode the primary relationship. And practical rules to keep it healthy: be explicit about the relationship. Say you value the friendship as platonic and check the other person's expectations. Keep transparency. Share meeting plans or regular contact patterns with your partner to reduce jealousy and build trust. Limit private, emotionally intense interactions that mimic couple behavior. Late night confiding, frequent alone time. Reassess if feelings change. If attraction develops for either person, address it openly and renegotiate boundaries or step back. Risks and trade offs. Risk: emotional drift can happen gradually because vulnerability builds attachment. Trade off: enforcing rigid bans can stifle social growth and trust. The healthiest approach balances intentional boundaries with honest communication. So then I asked question, and it's something I was interested in. Um, and the question is do opposite sex friendships destroy marriage? Like for instance, if you have if one person is married and the other person is not married, or both people are married, or something along those lines. It, does that destroy just having a friendship outside of marriage that's opposite sex friendship? Does that destroy marriage? And it's something I'm interested in. So I did a search on that. The question is, do opposite sex friendships destroy marriage? And the short answer is no. Opposite-sex friendships don't automatically destroy marriages, but they can threaten a marriage when boundaries, secrecy, or emotional substitution occur. Quick example or quick comparison of outcomes. Outcome strengthens marriage. Why it helps, adds perspective, increases social support. Key boundary, mutual transparency. Outcome neutral, benign. Why it helps, casual group-based contact with low emotional intensity. Key boundary, keep intimacy shared with spouse. Harms marriage, outcome. Why it risks marriage, emotional drift, secrecy, or one partner developing romantic feelings. Key boundary, limit one-on-one emotional time, disclose contact. Why opposite-sex friendships can be safe. They provide social support and broaden perspective, which correlates with higher relationship satisfaction when boundaries or when friendships are mutual and not replacing the spouse. Therapists don't usually universally ban them. They recommend clear agreements and transparency rather than blanket rules. Why they sometimes lead to trouble. Most affairs begin with a friendship or emotional intimacy outside the marriage. Consistent one-on-one contact creates opportunities for emotional bonding that can erode marital exclusivity. Emotional fidelity matters. When a spouse turns to an outside friend for the kind of emotional closeness they expect from their partner, the marriage's emotional bank can be depleted. Practical evidence-based rules to protect a marriage. Be transparent. Share who the friend is and typical contact patterns. Secrecy predicts distrust. Limit private, emotionally intense time. Avoid frequent late-night chats or confiding that mirrors couple intimacy. Check motives. If either person feels attraction, address it immediately and renegotiate boundaries or step back. Prioritize the marriage. Keep your partner as the primary source of emotional support. Use friends for complementary, not substitutive needs. Risk trade-offs and what to watch for. Risk: gradual emotional drift that feels innocent until it isn't. Trade-off: banning all opposite-sex friends can breed resentment or isolation. Negotiated boundaries are usually healthier. Bottom line: opposite-sex friendships do not inherently destroy marriages. They become dangerous when secrecy, blurred boundaries, or emotional substitution occur. And so then I asked, the next question was like, kind of the alternative would be to, if somebody might think that opposite-sex friendships that are non-romantic, like if they think that for whatever reason that automatically destroys marriage or that would destroy a relationship, somebody might come to the conclusion that maybe you should ban all opposite-sex friendships, and it's a possibility. So I was kind of curious about that and how that might affect really everything about that. How that what kind of role that would play, and what are the effects of banning all opposite-sex friends would have. So I asked the question is banning all opposite-sex friends that you're not romantic with healthy? And the short answer is no. A blanket ban on all opposite-sex friends is usually not healthy. Negotiated boundaries and trust are healthier than absolute bans. So I reread this. Negotiated boundaries and trust. Boundaries and trust are healthier than absolute bans. And I agree with that. So quick comparison. Approach. Open negotiated friendships. Typical outcome: strengthen social network. Why it helps: adds perspective and support. And when it backfires: if boundaries are vague. Approach: selective limits with transparency. Typical outcome: protects marriage without isolation. Why it helps: balances safety and autonomy. When it backfires: if limits are secret or one-sided. Approach: blanket ban on opposite sex friends. Typical outcome: short-term control, long-term resentment. Why it helps: reduces perceived risk quickly. When it backfires, can erode trust and reduce social resources. So a ban on opposite sex friends is going to, increase the control of the person that's implementing the ban, but it's typically going to lead to long-term resentment from the person that's getting the ban, and so there's kind of a interesting phenomena what would happen there. So anyway, you kind of go back to this question: is banning all opposite sex friends that you're not romantic with healthy? And the answer is no. It's not healthy. And so negotiated boundaries and trust are healthier than absolute bans. Trust takes a long time to develop, and it's easy to break. And so communication is very important. Negotiated boundaries are very important. Assumptions are typically not helpful. So anyway, we went over the chart. We'll go over why a blanket ban is usually unhealthy. Blanket bans trade relationship health for control. They can reduce immediate anxiety, but often create resentment, secrecy, and social isolation, which harm long-term relationship satisfaction. Friendships across genders provide real benefits: emotional support, different perspectives, and practical help that contribute to well-being and relationship resilience when managed openly. Many problems arise from unclear boundaries, not gender per se. Research shows sex differences in attraction and expectations can complicate opposite-sex friendships, but the risk is best managed by clear rules and transparency rather than prohibition. Practical, healthier alternatives to a ban: negotiate clear boundaries, agree on what's acceptable, frequency of one-on-one time, topics, late night texting. Bold rule: make the marriage the primary emotional relationship. Increase transparency. Share who you're spending time with and why. Invite your partner to meet the friend. Transparency reduces suspicion. Watch for emotional substitution. If one partner relies on an outside friend for the intimacy they expect from their spouse, address it early. Reassess when attraction appears. If romantic feelings develop, pause and renegotiate or step back to protect their primary relationship. So risks, trade-offs, and final guidance. Risk of over-control. Bans can signal distrust and push the banned friendships underground, increasing rather than decreasing risk. Trade-off. Some limits are reasonable. Avoiding secret late night alone time. But the healthiest path is mutual agreement, not unilateral prohibition. Bottom line: don't ban by gender. Set clear mutual boundaries and keep communication open. So yeah, we'll finish this up. But the thing is like, it's interesting how some people kind of have like kind of a total ban, and like to me that would be that would probably not be the person that I would want to have a romantic relationship, that somebody wants to ban all opposite sex friendships, just because that shows that person is kind of trying to control, control who I talk to, who I don't talk to, and also to me it also shows a low level of trust in in fidelity in terms of like the relationship. And so I've always kind of the world is not without critics, and I was just trying to get some factual information using AI and try to get some to me if somebody gets divorced because of some type of opposite sex friendship that one partner has, To me, that's more of a that's a trust problem, and it's a it's more of a trust problem. It's more of a control problem, and it's less of a a problem of like just having opposite sex friends. I don't know that it inherently is a bad thing. I think it's actually inherently probably a good thing. And so I guess I'm just kind of like I just wanted to discuss this today because it was something I was thinking about. Something sparked my interest in that topic. And I guess there's always kind of the thrill in the world of like maybe like that type of relationship could one hot minute it could go from friendship to something more than that. It could go to a romantic relationship very quickly, and it's a possibility. And so that's a risk we have in the world. That's just kind of like a risk that we have to deal with, and like it's kind of a part of the world, and you can increase control and say that and completely ban opposite sex friendships, but I think that would create an environment of resentment and anyway, like I'm not an expert on the topic. I just want to get some AI information on it. So anyway, hope you are enjoying your day.